comes down to this as Miami plays host to the 2018 Spring Finals. And today, one team will lift the trophy, hang a new banner in the studio, and potentially start a new legacy, while the other team falls just short. 100 Thieves are all smiles as they enter the Fillmore to cheers of fans not long ago, and they'll be facing off against Team Liquid and Double Lift, who were welcomed by this electric crowd, and that squad will no doubt want to pick up their first NALCS championship and deliver for fans who have supported them all year long. Once again, we are in that Fillmore with this crowd that has been going wild since we made our entrance. I'm excited to say that Miami has played a beautiful host to our tournament so far. We got a best of 5 here to determine the newest of NALCS champions. Hello and welcome to the NALCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we go through the journey each team has taken until the timer reaches zero, and we jump into Champion Select. We also have Azale joining us for the first time this split on the analyst desk.
Thank you for having me.
We subbed out Zyrene. How has Miami treated you so far?
Incredible, man. The food has been great. The fans have been great. And hopefully we're going to get 5 great games today.
We had a quick series yesterday.
Yeah,
Europe had a quick series today. Mark, I think ours might be a little bit more competitive.
I hope so. It's been a little bit fast for some playoff games, and I would like to see a very back-and-forth series, kind of like we saw in the semifinals.
Yeah, Jad, I'll get to you later. All right, now the two teams competing for a crown today ran through a bracket where old favorites came up and fell short and to the wayside. Along the way, 100 Thieves took down the Kingslayers, Clutch Gaming, while Team Liquid delivered to their fans as they took down Cloud9 and Echo Fox. With the NALCS title, today's winner will also earn 90 championship points and a trip to MSI.
Yeah, and aside from just going to MSI, when you do get the 90 points and have that for spring, usually that means you're going to Worlds. Like, so often the winner of the spring split has enough points after summer to qualify via most championship points. So again, just even more importance on this final today.
And again, a new org will be representing us internationally at MSI. We'll see how they do. For our series, though, today, we're going to send it down to Avali, who gauged Coach Kane's confidence ahead of his series.
Thanks, Dash. I did just get finished speaking with Kane, who is incredibly confident coming into this match. He says that all of his players don't think, but know that they are the strongest team in NA right now. And a lot of that strength is coming from their communications, where they believe that they are superior in as well. A lot of their practice this week focused on mainly improving their good habits and focusing on all that teamwork and coordination. They know that 100 Thieves is going to be a really tough opponent, and they know that they don't make too many mistakes. But when it comes to snowballing, macro, and team fights, Liquid can't be beat. Back to you.
It's so hot in here, my glasses are fogging up. So I'm going to go ahead and take them off. It's going to make it easier to read. But while this is the first final for these two orgs, the success of the players competing today cannot be overstated.
I mean, there's a tremendous amount of history of experience among these two teams. We have 5 players returning to the finals. There's pieces of Immortals roster last year. And honestly, a lot of the members of the old CLG.
But the thing is, they're all blown up now because so many members of that Immortals team ended up on Team Liquid, whereas Cody's son got picked up by 100 Thieves. So not only is it similar players, but they're on different sides of the rift.
Yeah, 2 new orgs, a lot of experience, and also when you look at Double Lift lining up for Team Liquid, he has the opportunity to not only win his 4th NALCS title, but win on his 3rd unique team. He's currently the only player to have won NALCS titles with 2 different teams. There will be players that join him in that today, but he has that chance to win on a 3rd different team, which would just be remarkable.
I mean, again, yes, the years of experience on this stage is phenomenal. The caliber of player as well. And so then again, it just feels like such a close series.
Yeah, so it's the fact that no one's actually won on 2 different teams yet. So Aframu's trying to kind of start catching up to Double Lift a little bit here, but right now he's kind of in a league of his own in terms of getting teams into these finals.
I mean, and again, I got to wonder what that feels like, right? You're sitting across the stage from somebody that you played with for a championship. I mean, on CLG, they both got their first title together, and now they're competing against each other today.
And it's so interesting, you know, hearing Aframu yesterday as he accepted the MVP award, talking about he spent 5 years with CLG. This is his first split with 100 Thieves. They're making a name for themselves, and you know, to start that off with a championship is incredible.
Without a doubt. Now, to hear more about the paths that these teams took to get here, let's send it over to Captain Flowers, Kobe, and Zyrene, who will be bringing you the cast in not too long.
Thank you, Dash, and thank you, Miami, for bringing the sunshine to the Sunshine State. I'm joined here by Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kinsler, and Aiden Zyrene Moon to bring you guys this finals bout. Gentlemen, it is going to be a fun one.
Oh, so excited.
I'm absolutely excited to be here. Miami's been fantastic, and I am ready for these 2 games, or these 2 teams to go up against each other.
It should definitely be a lot of fun to see these guys go head-to-head, and each of these teams have made the run and are now within striking distance of starting their own legacy.
Yeah, and you think back 6 months ago, this was not an expected finals here as the matchup. If you go back in the NALCS, 6 months ago, 100 Thieves didn't exist as an organization. Team Liquid did exist, but they were 9th place and they were in relegation.
Yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves specifically, if we start with them, they have already accomplished a remarkable amount for a brand new organization. They finished first place in the regular season, and specifically the second half of that split, they went 9-1 as far as their record.
Only dropping one game to Team Liquid, who they're up against here in the finals. But that 9-1, this playoff run for 100 Thieves has been off the back of fantastic performances from the MVP Afromu and Meteos really stepping up with that veteran status as they had 5 games up against Clutch.
Exactly. Although it is a brand new organization, they have plenty of veterans sprinkled in with the new talent like Cody Sun, who has been a remarkable North American AD carry. Now, if we move on to Team Liquid, as you said, they had their worst year ever last year. Back-to-back 9th place finishes. But because of some of the biggest off-season moves we have ever had, there was a new hype train that started around this team.
Exactly. Worst year in TL history last year, where the 4th memes, they were hoping to get to the 4th place. 9th back-to-back, like you said. But now, in the finals, they've already started off 2018 as the best year that they have had to date. So far, they've crushed Cloud9 and Echo Fox, who were the #1 and 2 teams throughout most of the regular season.
Just remarkable, and we have to see, impact there on stage. That's one of the parts of the discussion where people are talking about the meta fitting Team Liquid perfectly right now. It feels like everything has come together for the success of this team, with impact tanks on the top side, Doublelift on the bottom, playing through that bottom lane, and we're going to have to see it on stage.
Man, Doublelift, a 39 KDA coming into playoffs here. He has only died twice throughout their 7 games.
We're all caught up on what's brought us up to this point. I know I'm excited to see which of these teams are going to be walking away with the trophy here today, but for now, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Flowers. Now, leading into this match, we did a deep dive into both teams' draft priorities and how the questions surrounding them could determine today's winner.
Yeah, and the teams are fairly similar in the way they do play the game. They play a lot around bottom lane. They have mostly played tanks in the top lane. And throughout the semifinals and the quarterfinals, they were specifically banned in a few key instances. So I think there's 4 questions we can hone in on to try and figure out exactly how these teams will be drafting. And the first one is a bottom lane question. With Zyracon being such a high priority, are both teams okay matching with Caitlyn and Morgana? And the answer to that kind of dictates the bans a little bit.
Yeah, and you kind of go down a rabbit hole once you answer that first question, because both teams also played a lot of Caitlyn versus Ashe in their series, and Doublelift looked great in his, where it looked pretty effective versus Apollo for the side of 100 Thieves. And if they're going to do that strategy again, if Doublelift stands up, does that start dropping Caitlyn's priority down if he's fine playing Ashe? And you get kind of in this deep spiral effect because of how good these bot laners are.
And it is really interesting because I do think in the quarterfinals and the semifinals, some of the reasons these teams were targeting specific areas so heavily is because there was more weaknesses there, lack of champion pool and those sorts of things. Whereas here, I think both these bottom lanes can play Zyracon, can play Caitlyn and Morgana, and they're some of the most versatile players, I think, in the league.
And while we talk about Doublelift and his performance on Ashe, we do have to look at Cody Sun. Again, this is a guy who maybe not as flashy as Doublelift when it comes to the way he plays, but the damage percentage is not something you can ignore.
Yeah, so many of 100 Thieves games did go super late where Cody Sun was really taking over in the damage, and that's also one of the reasons you see such a high kill participation percentage. Is if they had an early game lead, it was for the bot lane, but mostly they were winning through team fighting. And Doublelift has incredibly impressive numbers himself, and some of the reasons his damage and kill participation aren't the same is because Team Liquid wins faster.
Right, and of course, next to these guys are the supports, one of which is Afromu, the guy who picked up the NALCS MVP for the spring split, so it'll be fun to watch him pilot some pretty fun champions here in this split. I want to work our way through the rest of the lanes. Let's hop to the mid lane, because in that Clutch versus 100 Thieves series, Jet, that went 5 games long. We saw a lot of targeted bans at Ryu, 3 across all of the games. And so do we feel that that was an effective strategy and one that could be implemented by TL?
Yeah, specifically Ryze and Talia are the bans that were really thrown at him. And I think because Pobelter also plays those champions, whereas Febiven would prefer more of the lane focus champions, I don't think you're going to need to see that many bans because Pobelter will be okay matching it in that way, and they can spend bans on jungle and AD carry picks instead.
I think it's also interesting because it felt like 100 Thieves were ready for that focus. They had the Galio in their back pocket. They broke that one out a couple times, and it didn't stop Ryu from roaming and influencing the map.
I think one of the things that is really important to look at, though, is because of all the success 100 Thieves coming through the bottom lane, you really want to stop the other lanes from getting down there and affecting that. And that's why I think maybe Talia will still be banned away by TL because it has been a lower priority for Pobelter has been kind of more lane focused, and you definitely don't want to allow Ryu to have the shove and to go put Afromu and Cody Sun ahead.
Jump to the top side of the map, you find both of our top laners, Someday versus Impact, two of the most veteran players on the stage in terms of number of years playing League of Legends. But in this tank meta, we keep talking about how the meta kind of seems to have fallen in favor for Team Liquid. How do we think 100 Thieves might match up against that?
Well, both teams are playing a very obvious tank style in the top lane, and when Ornn is up, it feels like both teams focus that one the most. They will take that over any other top laner, and just because the ability to engage without committing. The long-range Ornn ultimate allows you to start a fight without ending up in the middle of the team and having to take that fight.
It is very interesting, though, because it feels like Liquid is more locked down on only wanting to play tank versus tank, and that is why they have banned Gangplank in 6 straight games throughout the playoffs, 7 straight games even. And I do think Someday is willing to take that if it's left up, so that may restrict TL's bans a little bit if they're always going to have to take away the GP.
I mean, that leaves us with the two players roaming around in the jungle, Meteos versus Xmithie. We saw the jungle matchup be so pivotal in yesterday's 3-game series. These two guys, once again, both veterans, both been on this stage and bigger before. How do we expect them to play it out?
This is the one where there could actually be the largest difference in what they think the #1 champion is going to be. I think Meteos, as a bit of a power farmer and efficiency jungler, is the Olaf as his #1 jungle, whereas I think Xmithie might be a Trundle or a Skarner, probably the Trundle, and that's why I think we could see a few more bans in this area, because the success of Meteos, as well as the success of Xmithie, is super key in the way these teams play.
Yeah, if they have mismatched priorities, you'll see one team ban one out, one team ban the other, and then they're getting pushed down that list, and it does feel like Meteos has a little bit more depth available to him.
Yeah, I mean, Smithy hasn't played Olaf at all this season. It's not that he can't play it, but perhaps the team is not wanting to focus on that sort of a style. But I do think when the teams are trying to focus so heavily on getting their bottom laners ahead, that Olaf is sometimes a good way to do that.
All right, well, of course, with all of this laid out, best of fives always come down to how you react in the moment. And again, I know we've thrown criticism at teams throughout the playoffs for not adjusting when they need to. Again, just yesterday, you let 2 games go by without looking at a jungle pick, and that can spell disaster for you in the end.
I definitely understand not wanting to overreact, but you saw how much more stable that early game was once you remove the Olaf for the side of Clutch Gaming. So I would like to see teams not just go for the default, let's keep our strategy for the first 2 games, and start reacting right away.
And I definitely felt like the teams that played against TL and 100 Thieves were the ones that couldn't adapt, often taking 3 bans at the start of the series and running them throughout the series. These are the teams that have been here because they can adapt.
Fair enough. Well, as we gear up to watch the best of the best duke it out, we're calling upon all North American 5-mans looking for glory. Does your squad smash and flex? Do other teams dread your wombo? Then we need you and your 4 compatriots to sign up for the North American Clash Open Beta.
Hey-o.
Clash is League's newest mode, which seeds your team into a tournament bracket against squads of equal strength. Sign-ups begin April 9th, with the tournament starting April 13th. For more information, check out the landing page in the client. Tomorrow, we got 4 people on this desk. My question is, who's the 5th?
I hear Faker's not playing right now. Maybe he can join us.
I like
You probably want 2. I'll sit back, I'll coach you guys, but you probably want another in-game.
That's right, we got the professional
And don't worry,
coaching.
even if you're not smashing in flex, we need someone we can beat, so sign up.
Yeah, definitely sign up so we can smash you guys. All right, we're going to step away for a quick break. When we return, we gather our last win conditions of the spring split. These 3 predict who will be the newest champion of the North American LCS, and we kick off the opening ceremonies for the Miami final. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the NALCS Countdown with about 12 minutes to go before Champions Select. It's time to welcome our finalists to the stage.
How long do you think you can continue playing video games?
My name is Zachary Black. I ultimately want to be #1, so.
We were the kids that left home, probably too young. But we took our share, and maybe then some. Tired of beating some battles and being sewn up. But that made us grow up, and that made them scared. 'Cause we never learned to keep our voices down. We only learned to shout, so we find a way in, and we find a way out. We are what we got from the ground up, trying to lift the whole damn crowd. So we find a way in, and we find a way out. And there's still a kid somewhere that needs to hear this. Somebody cares, and somebody knows, who's tired of bleeding and battered and being torn up. Just pick yourself up, it's time to go. 'Cause we never learned to keep our voices down. We only learned to shout, so we find a way in, and we find a way out. We are what we got from the ground up, trying to live the whole damn crowd. So we find a way in, and we find a way out. We find a way in, and we find a way out. We find a way in, and we find a way out. We find a way in, we find a way in, we find a way in, and we find a way out.
Hello, Miami! Welcome to the NALCS Spring Finals. Today, a new team will ascend to greatness. A new team will lift this trophy for the first time. A new team will raise their banner in the LCS studio, and a new team will represent North America at the Mid-Season Invitational. Making their NALCS Finals debut, looking to be the 4th team to hoist this trophy. Give it up for Team Liquid! Supporting the 5-man squad on stage, Coach Kane and substitute support Joey. In the top lane, former world champion and 3-time NALCS finalist, Impact! In the jungle, MSI finalist and 2-time NALCS champion, Smithy! In the mid lane, another former NALCS champion, 200 IQ, Paul Belter! In the bot lane, 3-time NALCS champion, and the only reigning champion on stage today, Double And at support, returning to the finals in back-to-back splits, it's Ole! Challenging them for the championship, finishing the regular season in first place and making the NALCS finals in their debut split, 100 Thieves! On stage for picks and bans, alongside the substitute bot laner, Crawley and Rikara. In the top lane, Korean regional champion and third team All-Pro top laner and resident dunk master, it's Someday! In the jungle, returning to his 6th NALCS final, 2-time champion, Meteors! In the mid lane, world semifinalist and making his NALCS finals debut, Ryu! In the bot lane, first All-Pro AD carry, making his 2nd consecutive NALCS final, Cody Sun! At support, 2-time NALCS champion, your 2018 Spring Split MVP, the man who makes support look so easy, dude, it's Afro Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, your 2018 Spring finalists.
An incredible show of support for both of the teams as they take the stage today from the fans here in Miami. We're gearing up. We're almost there, everyone. 5 minutes to game time. So with that said, it's time to get into some win conditions. Azael, you're new to the desk, new to the countdown. I'm going to give you a shot here. Win conditions for 100 Thieves. How do you think they do it?
Well, I think it's about getting Meteos jungle priority. He is the only one in this series that is playing Olaf. I think you can either ban out Trundle and take Olaf, or you can take Trundle yourselves, get him that priority, use it to then go down to the bottom lane. The other lanes of 100 Thieves need to put that bottom lane ahead. Cody Sun is the linchpin of this team, over 40% of the team's total damage throughout the split. You put this guy ahead, he will do work, and he will bring you your championship.
And Mark, only because you asked me so nicely, I'm going to let you do Team Liquid's win conditions.
A little bit of a homer maybe for them, you know, I don't know.
Lay it on me. What do you got?
All right, so I say track Meteos. So I actually agree with Azael's point about him trying to get priority and all that stuff, but that's actually fine. If he wants to get a farm lead, if he wants to be more efficient than Smithy, go for it. But just know where he's going so he can't go down there and influence that bot lane, because you want to give Doublelift room to work. Team Liquid actually spend a fair amount of jungle proximity around the top side. And if you can pull them away, give Doublelift 2v2 room to outlane Cody Sun, I think he can do that, and that's something that can keep Cody down for the series.
Yeah, and I like how you guys have relatively similar win conditions for both teams, but also these teams excel in the mid and late game. Actually, in playoffs, both these teams average a goal deficit at 50 minutes, so they haven't been winning by smashing the early game. So much of it for these guys is about their teamwork and their team fighting.
I like it. We'll track that all series long. And just to make things a little bit more interesting, I've got another set of propositions for you guys. Over under. This time, we've switched it up a little bit. So proposition number 1, the number of triple, quadra, and pentakills. So therefore, triple or greater. We're setting the line at 2.5. What are our thoughts?
I'm going over because I think both these teams are so heavily focused on their AD carries. It's going to be about team fighting. It's going to be about these late game fights, and that's where they can pick them up.
So we're going to have a very bloody series, is what you're telling me.
Well, not necessarily very bloody, because you might just get like one late game team fight, but because, like Azael is saying, so much is the AD carries, 40% damage share. That guy's going to pick up 3 kills in the game deciding fight, I think.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves average is way below this for triple plus kills. It's like 0.08 per game, but I think specifically with the hype of the finals it usually brings, you do get more explosive team fights down the stretch.
Sounds good to me. Now, next up, Cody Sun's damage percentage across this series. We saw earlier that 40% average, so we're setting it slightly lower lower because of what Double Lift does to opposing ADCs.
Yeah, Double Lift's opponent's average damage percentage is 31%. So he shuts other people down. But in this one, I'm still going a little bit over because I remember the Game 5 Caitlyn that Cody Sun had in semifinals where he did like 60% of his team's damage. It just takes like one of those games, I think, to make it over.
Over again.
Azael's just blending in with us like, yeah, what they do, I want that too. He's just trying to
Hey,
copy
I was the first
countdown.
one to say
Right,
what I
yeah.
Did you see his was revealed first, my friend?
Alphabetical order, man. Or something.
I don't know. All right, the third proposition that I have for you is the fastest game time. Is it going to be over or under yesterday's slowest game time of 29-25?
I think the propensity these teams have to go to late game team fights, to play around their AD carry in that team fighting style, means you're going to have longer games. I think it's going to be over.
Yeah, I'm aligned with you once again, Azael.
Oh, thank you.
Big brain.
Yeah.
So you tell me not once does one of these teams just smash the other one in under 29 minutes.
It doesn't feel like that's the style that they're playing right now very much.
Yeah, well, I want to see where this graphics come down because I may have misinterpreted the question.
Did you screw it up?
I think the fastest game will be under 29 minutes and 25 seconds.
Let's reveal it.
No,
Oh, no, that's correct.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
then you're right.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Come on.
I
know what you're doing
thought
out
I'd
here.
agree with Azael for all three, but I guess I'm not.
No.
Yeah, perfect.
Jat's got the difference in the third proposition. Final predictions, though, is a simple one. Who do you think is going to be the newest NALCS champion? So down the line, we're crowning somebody new. Azael, who's it going to be?
I think it's not as simple as it sounds. I mean, a lot of people on paper may be looking at TL, how on fire Double Lift has been, but I think it's about more than the bottom lane. I think it's about how the team works together. I'm going for a 100 Thieves victory because I think they're going to take it 3-2. I think they will be able to have a greater effect on the bottom lane. Ryu's roaming, some days team play, and Meteos getting down there with that MVP in the bottom lane and putting them ahead.
Close series, 100 Thieves gets it.
Starting
Mark?
to distance myself from Azael. I'm actually not going to agree with him here. I'm going to go Team Liquid 3-2. I think this is a very close series, like Azael was saying. I think you will see at different points in the series multiple people step up, but just how good Team Liquid have looked in the playoffs compared to how 100 Thieves struggled a little bit is my concern.
Looking at the build-up and the recency from Team Liquid to push them through. Jat, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm looking at the road Team Liquid took. 3-0ing C9, 3-1ing Echo Fox, who destroyed Clutch yesterday, whereas 100 Thieves had that 3-2 series. I'm going TL 3-1. I think their team play is real good.
Get over here.
All right, well, I think either way, the crowd is happy to see a 5-game series. I know I would be happy to see a 5-game series. So with that, we're going to toss it back over to Captain Flowers for the call.